Dricus, all right, go ahead and take your pick. It's all good. You earned it.
Dricus, congratulations on the knockout win. What are your initial thoughts after a performance like that?
Well, thank you. Geez, well, I mean, my thoughts coming in was, wow, I'm so grateful to get the opportunity for the UFC trusting. Like I said, every fighter on this card, I believe, is trusted by the UFC to put up a performance because people all over the world are flying in to watch this fight. This is one of those events where it's a Super Bowl event that happens every once in a while that you get a gem like this. So if you are on this card, you have to consider yourself lucky. And I made sure that I make it count. And I went out there and I had fun. Trevin Giles said he had the best jab. He didn't catch me that often, but he does have very fast hands. And when I caught him, when I saw him fall, immediately it's almost like a flashback for my debut. Every fight has a different. Felt absolutely amazing.
And you had said at the media day that when your initial fight with Trevin fell out, you were hoping to rebook it because you liked this matchup. So after this fight, did everything play out like you had expected, or did Trevin catch you with anything that surprised you?
Yeah, I think everything worked out exactly like it should have. Is my mic screaming? Is it that? Okay, that makes more sense. I'm still, I stuck by it. Exactly what I thought would happen happened. He is a really good fighter. Yes, his hands he has crazy hand speed for a middleweight. Smaller build though. You have to. That's one thing I saw as soon as we got in the cage, and I knew that. And he has his foot works pretty well. He comes in, he comes out, and the fight worked out perfectly. He has that boxing style. I have a kickboxing style, and I believe if you can use 8 limbs, or at least 4 against 2, you're always going to win that fight. And good hands, but I had better all-around stand-up. I had better kicks. I had more combinations, and finally the kicks eventually set up my hands to made me look like the boxer.
And that straight right that put him down, was that a punch that you knew you could take advantage of in that fight, or did you just see an opening in the moment and capitalize on it?
Well, I mean, there was 1 or 2 things that was going to happen as far as the striking goes. He has a pretty high guard with his right hand when he throws that jab, because he relies on that jab. So his right hand's always pretty up. So I threw a few hard left hooks, and like on my debut, I got a left hook knockout. It's pretty much one of my favorite punches. The left hook has a lot of power. So immediately in the fight, I have to wait for him to get a little bit more tired, get a little bit more sloppy before that left hook's going to land. But then I saw when he throws that right hand, that left jab, that stiff jab, he almost rides it. He rides it. A lot of people do that. They throw so hard, and that's why I caught the low kick as well, because he steps hard, throws that jab, and eventually I saw he started, when I backed up, he wanted to land elbows, he wanted to land knees, wanted to land when I got up against the cage, and I just saw that opportunity. A few times you'll see me go back against the cage, because I could see every time I backed up, he almost opened up and was looking for something big. I wasn't scared of the takedowns. I just knew I had to watch for some knees, watch for some elbows, and counter from that, and that's exactly how it played out. Eventually, I got up off the cage, and I saw his hands were down, and I just caught him straight.
And one of the storylines coming into this entire card is the performance bonuses got jumped up to $75,000. You'd have to think you're on the short list for a bonus at this point. So if you do get that $75,000, do you have any plans for it?
Absolutely. I mean, the last time I was sitting in Abu Dhabi, I got that first round knockout against Marcus Perez, who's never been finished. I've finished all my fights, so I got a first round knockout against him on a short notice debut, and I was certain when I got that knockout, it's his performance bonus time. And obviously Jacqueline Buckley with that the knockout of the year, and then I'm like, well, great, he gets a bonus, I get a bonus, there's enough bonus for everybody. And then Corey Sandhagen comes with his spinning heel kick, and I was like, oh shit. And I just missed out on that. Well, I came out here tonight and said, well, listen, it's tough competition, but I want to get that bonus. And when they now upped it to 75, I was like, well, great. I'm going to take you home even more. So, hopefully it was enough. There's a lot of great fights still to happen, and I did enough to get that bonus, and ultimately they know who decides who deserved that. I haven't watched the fight. I don't know how good the fight was. It felt pretty good. It felt high intensity. It felt great. That's why I wanted to fight Trevin. He's a game opponent, and I walked out and I finished a guy who's never been finished before the third round he's only been finished with submissions. I came out here. I'm dominantly a submission finisher, and I knocked this guy out. So, if there's any props to be given, that's it. But like I said, there's a lot of fights still to happen.
And finally, I'm sure you're going to get a bigger name for your next fight, back-to-back stoppage wins. It's a kickoff for your UFC career. Are there any specific names you're eyeing, or when you would like to return?
Well, to be honest, I'm still finding a home here in the UFC. It's my second fight. Trevin Giles already was a big name. He is a big name to fight on your second fight. I think he is top 25. I think he was ranked number 22. 3-fight win streak. Has wins over big opponents. So for me, I'm not rushing that. I'm on my first contract, so getting that big names on your first contract doesn't really make a lot of sense. So finding a home, getting that octagon time, we'll go home, sit and see who makes sense. I mean, to get another guy in this ranking where I'm at, I'm not sure where I think I'm in the top. I was top 30, and now I'm probably going to go up a little, and still fight around there, and then by 2022 when it start climbing that top 20 ranks, but properly getting in the top 50 and start fighting ranked opponents.
Dricus over here. First off, did I say it correctly?
You said it perfectly, man. I'm so glad I could help people.
I gotta ask you, you have a big platform. A lot of people are obviously watching tonight. How important was it to you to hey, I kind of need to let people know how to say it. It's getting a little much.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, it's different cultures, different way of speaking. That's just the way it is. So, when I was fighting in Poland in the Eastern Bloc, they got a little bit better. They said Dricus, which is a lot closer than, to be honest, the American folk have been struggling to say my name. It's just because of the R. They don't really have the sounds in the vocabulary. So, I mean, it's just saying it correctly and teaching people how to say it. And, hopefully it becomes a name that really doesn't, it gets said often enough that it's not hard to say anymore. But yeah, definitely, like I said, Dana White has mentioned me twice in the didn't know now you know videos, and he butchered my name both times. So it was about time to tell people how to say my name.
Were you able to see him on the way out the cage?
I did not, but hopefully afterwards.
This is obviously a big experience being on the undercard for Conor McGregor. I'm sure friends and family were already very excited for you, but what have your friends and family been saying? Do they ask you if you've seen Conor? Are they just excited for you to be fighting tonight? What has just the reception been for you?
Yeah, absolutely. South Africa is going absolutely mad right now. It is right now. It's 3:15 in the morning. It's 3 a.m. in South Africa, but I fought at 2 a.m. But the whole country is up. Everybody's watching. It's like I said, it's like our national rugby team. The Springboks are playing a World Cup final. The whole country, the support was amazing, and especially being on a Conor card. Now that's a big for me and for my country, especially being from South Africa, not being very known in the fighting in the UFC, not having a lot of UFC fighters in the history and right now. And getting that second victory is absolutely massive for me and for my country, making my country proud. South Africa is going through a lot at the moment and has been. So for me, positivity in the country, just getting people excited, getting people motivated, inspiring a whole nation, and the unity. There's a lot of like I said, hardships in South Africa, and to see a country unite that has been divided by so many things, to unite a country like that, it's absolutely incredible for me. The whole country comes together when I fight. This fight, I can't believe the amount of support from all over. No, there was no people divided in this fight. Everybody was just rooting for me to win, and fighting on a Conor card, obviously a massive deal. Now I won the prelims. I told them, I got my short notice fight on the main card. I delivered with the first round knockout. They gave me this big card. They gave me a prelim fight. Obviously, very happy to be on a prelim on for the Conor Poirier trilogy. But I'm not a prelim fighter. I haven't been for a very long. I defended belts for 5 years, fought for belts only. I had 3 world titles outside of the UFC. And hopefully now the lesson is learned. I am a main card fighter and I want to be on the main card.
Forgive me if this is naive in terms of geography, but when they talk about, Ngannou, Adesanya, Usman bringing a UFC Africa type of card, is that something you feel like you'd want to be a part of? I know it's a big place, but are you excited? If they bring it, are you excited to fight in a UFC event on the continent?
If they bring the UFC to Africa, there's only one place they're going to bring it, and that is South Africa. I can guarantee it. Cape Town, Pretoria, that's one of the places they're going to bring the UFC. That's the only place, I believe. And if they're going to bring the UFC there, I promise you I'll be a bigger star than all those names you just mentioned.
Dricus to your right. How quickly are you hoping to rise through the rankings in the division?
Well, like I said, I'm on my first contract right now, so fighting the big names for I don't like to bring the money into this. It's not, it seems like almost the thing to do these days. Everybody complaining, getting more money. It's not. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be that guy. But there's a certain you get your set contract for your first few fights. So for me, it's finding my feet, finding a home in the UFC. The moment is still very big. Well, believe it or not, like when I fight in the UFC, this is only my second fight in the octagon. It is massive for me. It's the pressure is incredible. It's I'm still finding my rhythm in the octagon like I would when I was fighting outside of the octagon, and it's starting to become a home now. It's my second fight, getting that second, seeing I always believe that I'm the best in the world, but I do compete with the best in the world right now, and I'm doing good things. Getting through the first few fights, maybe the first 3 or 4 fights, then starting to getting that ranked opponents. That's what the plan I have in my head. And once I start climbing that ranks, the ranking between 15 and 1 for me is not a big difference.
I mean, out of those guys, though, not to call him out or anything, but do you fantasize about some of the matchups with him aside from the champion?
After my debut, I called out Trailblazer, Kevin Holland. I called him out after my debut, and then all of a sudden this guy goes out and knocks out Jacare. He was ranked number 20 when I called him out. It was back in October, and I have to tell you, I promise you, I have everything in my arsenal to beat him if we had to fight tomorrow. So he's a kudos to him. He's one of those game guys. He just shows up on 24-hour notice to fight. So it's all about fighting a game, fighting a name, and right now he has a name, and he's in with the Sharks right now. He's in the top 10, and I think it's a dangerous place for him. So, if I want a quick way into the top 10, he's my way. But, that's just the way I see it in terms of that was a guy I was looking to fight, and I saw myself beating. Good stepping stone for me, and all of a sudden, he's knocking out Jacare. So, that just shows you that's the quality of the fighters in the UFC. A number 20 ranked guy can become a champion in one fight. That is 100% possible on any given night.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Sounds like you want to bring a lot of awareness to issues and things going on in South Africa, but with wanting to try to climb the ranks, a lot of fighters we've seen from other countries have migrated to the U.S. or migrated to some place where they can get more fights. Do you feel that it's going to be tough to try to keep rising the ranks, fighting only once, maybe twice a year? And is that something that you maybe have considered relocating so you could get more fights to possibly rise up the ranks quicker?
No, if getting fights is not a problem if you perform every time. That's really not the case. It's definitely not a problem to get the fights. If you perform, you get fights. That's the way it works. And relocating US, my team got me here. My team is the team that I've been with, the same team always. And I do go and train abroad. I train with a lot of other teams. I travel the world. I'll go for a few weeks there, go here to pick up knowledge. But at the end of the day, the team I'm with is a team that able to me. They brought me 3 titles. They got me into the UFC with 2 spectacular finishes. What more do I need? And other than that, I always say every culture almost. Fighting is in our DNA. Fighting is the most primitive sport in the world. We all have it in us, and people have a different way of doing it. The way we do it in Africa is completely different to the way in the States. The way they do it in Russia, so if you see the Russian dudes fight, is completely different to how Americans fight. Everybody has the unique style, and I believe me training in Africa, fighting in that style, I bring something to this cage that nobody's ever seen. I bring something that is on orthodox style, a type of power and a type of tenacity that doesn't come from. Yes, so technically we don't have the sport for that long, or we don't have first division wrestlers, but we have that African style and we have that African heart, and that's something that I think nothing can buy in our country. And I'm not planning on leaving it full time anytime soon. I'm not planning on leaving my family, friends, and my team over there. I think if I'm gonna become the UFC champion, and I will become the UFC champion, it's going to be out of Africa.
Great answer. And last one, you mentioned that you're normally a submission finisher, but you do have nice finishes like what you did tonight. Do you have a preference between the two, or do you actually like the fact that you are still able to finish under striking and you're able to finish on submission as well?
Yeah, I think physically, the submission just came, and it took me a while to get my groove. For some, it's always end up on the ground, whether it be in the scramble, whether it be a slip, and the submission finish came. Now, I'm not one of those guys that prefers to finish a fight this way or let a guy off the hook to get something else. If I see a finish, I take it. So if the submission's there in this fight as well, the end of that first round, seen that if that round was 10 seconds longer, that fight was over. And so, I mean, the submission presents itself, I take it. The knockout presents itself, I take it.
Congrats on the win.
Thank you so much. Is that all? Thank you so much, everybody. See you again.